Welcome to the home of the DIY movement, where we build stuff and paint things.
All right, y'all. It's way back Wednesday, man. Welcome back. Where we last left off, the 62 been sold, gone, out of there, broke even money. Had a itch to scratch, so I went and picked up the Lincoln Town Car. Still had money left over, so I picked up the 63, right? Diablo. So you guys been following the way back Wednesdays, man. This picture right here is me and Joe painting the rooster, right? Well, once the rooster was, gone, and I picked up the Lincoln and I had a little bit of money, he had a car that I kind of had some interest in, right? I was like, man, if I sell this 62, I want to buy that 63 you got. And he was like, well, shit, it's here at the house, So, boom, sold the 62, came back home probably like the next day or day after. And I was like, man, I want to go see this 63 you got, right? So I end up buying it, right? But we got to rewind back to the point of the negotiation, right? The Diablo. Which translates to the devil or the demon. So I don't know how that got spray painted on the door. You really can't see in this picture, but basically the driver's side door had El Diablo spray painted on the door, which is the devil. Didn't really see it as the devil, you know what I mean? But saw it as potential, right? So let's get back to the negotiation of the purchase of this car. All right, so car was at his house. He lives about, 45 minutes away or whatever. And went to his house. Okay, now granted, the car that we just painted, that 62, right? The Lincoln right now is parked in the garage. It's on back burner. That's my little go-to car to go get a burger or a little sandwich or whatever in. I need me a project, right? I need me something to keep me busy, right? So went to look at his car. Now granted, the car that we just put together, that we just painted, it was already kind of running and driving, right? It was already kind of complete. So I felt like it wouldn't be that hard to kind of freshen it up. So yes, it was a full-blown frame off project, but it wasn't really starting from scratch. I mean, I don't want to take away from the lesson learned on the 62, but it ran and drove. The 63 didn't. It needed to be pushed. So I went to his house and he had it there, and I'm looking at it. We just painted this car, the 62, so I feel like I know how to paint. Like you know what I mean? Like a paint job ain't shit, like I could do that. Wrong, just because you painted one car don't mean that you know what you're doing. And just because you painted 100 cars don't mean you know what you're doing, to add to that. But so we're there looking at the car, man, and dude wanted like, shit, man, I forgot. I think he wanted like 6 or something. And I was like, man, yeah, man, I like it. 63, I like. Who doesn't like 63s, right? Man, I don't really like the 6, man. I like the 4. Nah, I can't do 4. Okay. 45? Nah, I can't do 45, man. I want 5. Well, I can't do 5. What about like help me out, man? Like, all right, I'll do 49. Okay, now we're talking. All right, so I feel like, all right, so now we're talking. And I was like, all right, well, here's the deal, man. I'll give you the 49, but you got to help me paint this because, you guys been watching the Way Back Wednesdays. At this point, I still don't know how to adjust the paint gun. I'm having him adjust the paint gun for me, hand it to me, and I start spraying paint, which in hindsight doesn't make sense. So I'm like, yeah, we painted the car, man, but I didn't paint the car. We painted the car. You know what I mean? I want to be able to paint a car. So we'll continue the deal that we had, where I'm paying you to come help me if you sell me this thing for, you know, $4,900. So you're getting really, you know, he's getting really more than the $4,900. You know, he's getting, you know, 55 or however many times you have to come over and help. So, you know, he's getting his money, and, you know, but he has to work a little bit for it, and I'm paying him. So I'm getting what I want. I'm getting the car plus what I want. He's getting what he wants, but he has to do a little bit of work, but it's fun. So we're having a good time. So we agree to it. So he's like, boom. I want to say it was like $4,900. Boom. Bought the car. You're going to help me. You're going to, you know, still come over and help. But now instead of like, you know, with 70% him teaching, a 30% me learning, let's try like a 50-50. A 50% him teaching, a 50% me learning, you know, or me hands-on, or maybe even a 60-40 or something like that, you know. I want to be more involved. I want to do more. I want to figure things out more, you know, than what we did on the Rooster. Okay, so he was like, shit, man, sounds good, because that's actually less work from him, right? So boom, boom, let's do it. So he actually tows it to me, right? That was part of the deal. Like, you bring it to me, so, which wasn't far. It's like less than an hour. So he gets it here, you know, and I mean, I've already seen it, you know, but now it's in my garage, and I can look at it, you know, without somebody standing there, you know, so I could look at this thing like all day if I want. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, this is further in than the 62 was. This ain't got no door panels. You know, it ain't got no sail panel. It doesn't have any glass. Excuse me, it doesn't have any glass in it. And I'm like, man, is this a bigger project than the Rooster was? So yes, in hindsight, this was a bigger project than the Rooster was, even though the Rooster 62 was my first frame off paint job. This one was a bigger project because, well, I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it or who you ask, because once the Rooster was stripped, it looked just like this, you know, minus the bumper and the taillights. So, you know, was it really a bigger project, or was it just priced accordingly? You know, that's a good question to ask. So basically, man, we pushed the car in the garage and said, you know, man, we got to find a starting point, you know, like let's figure out where we're going to start. So where do you start? In my opinion, you start with the frame. All right. Well, before we jump off into it, let's do a little comparison here, man. We got the 62 that I want to say I paid like either 12 or 14. I really don't remember the exact, but let's just call it at 13 in the middle. And then we have the 63 that I paid $4,900 for. Now the 62 drove on its own. The 63 needed to be pushed, but it had a rebuilt drivetrain, just wasn't fully hooked up or whatever. So once you strip down the 62 to redo it, you basically have what the 63 looks like, which I paid less than half of the price of the 62 for the 63. So this should teach people to, I've said it before in my videos, man, you really got to ask yourself, what do you want to do with the car? What do you expect out of the car? How far do you want to take the car? Do you want the car that you can drive and park it at the grocery store, and that you can leave out in your driveway overnight for a few days and a cat might get on it, leaves are going to fall on it, might rain? Or do you want something that is never going to see the rain, is never going to see the ice or the cold, and you know, it's going to be a showpiece? Because after it was all said and done, you know, I paid like $8,000 more for the 62 than I did the 63, and it's essentially the same damn car. You know, here's another picture in the garage, man. You know, bumper hanging. Never mind the bumper. Never mind the license plate panel. That's trash. What I'm looking at is how good the trunk fits to the quarter panel. It's original quarter panel. It's original trunk. Like, man, okay, that looks sharp. Open and close real good. Things line up good. I'm not worried about how the bumper's not fitting, because it's probably just loose. I'm not worried about the chrome plating on the bumper. I'm not really worried about anything at this point other than, is the car complete? Is it rotted out? Do things open and close like they should? And it doesn't have a title. That's my concern when looking at a car in this condition. Now, if I remember right, the car did not have a title, but it wasn't hard to obtain a title back then. It wasn't, you know, it was a couple $100. The car had a 283 with a power glide, which you guys know I make fun of the power glides, but it supposedly was a rebuilt 283. It ran, and I don't know, man, looking at this picture, I think the car did move on its own power, but it wasn't, you know, ready for the road. You know, looking at that engine right now, you know, that thing had been pulled out at some point and painted, because you see a lot of cars that are for sale, you know, on Facebook or whatever, and you know, they spray paint the engine orange, and then you know, they get overspray all over the exhaust manifold, you know, alternator, frame. So basically, you spray bomb, rattle can the engine where it's at, and that's not, you know, some people might say, well, it was rebuilt. You know, that's not rebuilt. Looking at this right here, you know, that block, the engine was painted, you know, outside of the car. So yeah, that engine was rebuilt. Okay, so now we got a rebuilt drivetrain, pretty solid car, air conditioned car, you know, complete with all the panels. It just looks like shit, right? For $4,900, for under $5,000, versus the other one that drove, was a little bit shiny for more than double, but you end up tearing the thing apart anyways. So that's what I try and tell people when we start talking. What do you want to do with the car? That's what it boils down to. All right, so we bought the car. It's at the house, and I want to say that he actually threw in an extra frame and stuff, right? So I was like, well, shit, that's a head start already. Now, granted, I see some guys selling some frames for $1,000, but realistically, well, back then they were worth about $100. Now they're maybe worth about $250 for a bare frame. Don't pay more than that for a bare frame. But I had a whole nother frame to build, right? So we're already had already done a same thing. You know, we already built a whole nother rolling chassis for the previous car and then swapped the body on. So I'm looking on ways to improve on that process, right? So I'm thinking, okay, well, this last time we put the car on the frame and then we painted it, and we got a little bit of overspray, you know, a little bit of sanding dust or whatever, you know, it just wasn't as clean. This time I want to build the whole roller, paint the car, then put the car on the painted roller, so that the drivetrain and the frame chassis is, you know, squeaky clean, and then you put a painted body, and now we're doing, you know, restoration work. This was another key piece that he included in the car. I believe the little trunk gutter weather strip was rotted out. Included this whole section right here, which included the taillight pockets, which, you know, now fast forwarding, you know, 10 years, 13 years or whatever, they're kind of hard to find. You know, you almost have to settle for reproduction and make them fit. But I believe we cut out the center section where the trunk latches, that whole centerpiece, and we transferred it onto the car. And I don't think we even used the pockets. I don't think it needed it, but it needed that center section. And we did that, and boom, boom, we have the Millermatic 211. We welded that up, you know, and we were in business. That was actually a really, you know, easy process. All right, so the first thing we do is bust down the frame, right? We're gonna bust all the bushings out, ball joints, all that crap. All that old crap has got to go in the trash. We're gonna do all new. Backing plates and everything, we set everything to the side in preparation for powder coat because, you know, powder coat is cheap. Sent the frame as well. Remember what I said about towing the frame upside down so you don't bend it. All right, so fast forward a little bit here. Everything is back assembled. You can see I'm running drum brakes in the front, drum brakes in the rear. We got new bushings, new ball joints. I don't think there's any springs in there at that picture right here, but you know, we're building a rolling frame. We still got the 63 behind us that's on a roller. So we're getting ready to, you know, move on to the next stage in the process, which would be to set the drivetrain on, right? So this is where things get a little bit tricky. And we're going to revisit this process here towards the end of the car. But when I powder coated this frame, I'm going to put another picture on here. So this is the car when it was done, right? And we're gonna have a few videos before we get to this point. But when I powder coated that frame, one thing to note is the brake lines and the gas lines. That frame was bone dry, right? I didn't see anything wrong with the brake lines or with the gas lines. They looked good. They weren't damaged. Everything looked great. So I was like, well, this is powder coat with, you know, with the lines on. So that's what I did. Send it to powder coat. Boom. They did their job. Sandblast, coat it, give it back to me. We started assembling. Powder coating the old brake lines came back to bite me in the ass. And luckily, it didn't end badly, but it definitely taught me something. You guys are gonna have to stay tuned for the upcoming videos, the upcoming Wayback Wednesdays. But we work on the 63. We painted it laurel green, green matching interior, stock hubcaps for now, grill guard eventually, and all that. We built this whole car frame off again, just like the 62. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Wayback Wednesday, man. Next video, we're going to get off into, you know, the paint and body process on the 63 two-door hardtop and laurel green, man. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Y'all stay tuned for more work. Thanks for watching.